Okay, folks, what we've got now for you is an absolute superstar of Celtic. He signed in 1986, should have signed sooner, but a few injuries came his way. But of course, he made up one of the colossal giants in the Centenary team of 1988. Please welcome Anton Rogan, folks. Hello, Anton.
Hello, Tony. How you doing?
All good. How's the Rogan family coping with the lockdown at the moment?
I think we're just coping like everybody else over here, Tony. It's an absolute nightmare, but there's people in a lot worse situations than us at the minute, so we'll have to just praise God that everybody's doing okay at the minute, thank God.
Yeah, one of your local clubs down here, the Sarsfields, they're doing a great food bank collection over this last few weeks. So, you know what I mean? We're all doing our bit over here as well.
Yeah, it's funny how you see so many people pulling together, Tony, when times are bad like this. You know, it's great to see, and it's good to see there still is some humanity about somewhere, you know.
Yeah, it is indeed. So, Bhoy, who made it into the Celtic Centenary team of 1988, that's a fairy tale, isn't it, Anton?
Tony, it's still, I'll just say, that's 30 odd years ago, and I still think about it, you know. It's just, I think it was one of them moments in my life that just will live with me forever, you know. It was an honour and a privilege to be there and to play in the same team as some of the lads that I was playing with, and obviously the manager was fantastic at what he done, you know, for everybody in the team. He's just brilliant. I loved him. I got on really well with Big Billy. He's a great man and a great person.
Yeah, we had a lovely tribute at the start of the show there. We've done about a 9-minute tribute and videos to Billy, and on the internet they were all writing there wasn't a dry eye in the house, and same here. I had to walk out at one stage. The lump in my throat watching it was, he was an immense character, wasn't he?
As I say, Tony, it was an honour for me to play under him. Do you know, I remember the first day I walked into the dressing room. I played my first lot of games at the end of the 1986-87 season, and obviously I played about 10 games, and Davy Hay was the manager, and obviously the circumstances changed when Celtic were winning leagues and stuff, so Davy got sacked obviously, and the new manager was obviously Big Billy, and I'll never forget it, Tony, as long as I live. The day he walked into the dressing room, the first time I've ever set eyes on him, and he gave me the old bejesus, and seriously I was panicking when I looked at him, even when he spoke. I think everybody in the dressing room, you could see their ears perked up, because he was just a colossal figure in football, you know, and for him to be standing in front of me, a little lad from Lennon, looking at him, it was spine chilling for me.
Oh, amazing. Right, we'll start at your career, because a lot of people were getting in touch with me. Marty McKiernan, you might know Marty.
I know Marty very well.
Yes, Marty sent me a photograph. I'm going to send you on WhatsApp after the show of your Red Star days.
The Red Star.
Trophy laden. It looked in the picture. There was a couple of trophies there on the floor. But where did you start? Did you start with Red Star? Did you start with Plunkett, or maybe?
No, Red Star. For me, Tony, we were Tony Rooney and Harry and Tony Hopes basically started this little, Billy McDonald as well, bless him. They started this little team from all the Lennon lads, and we had a great side, Tony. You know, we done really well, and obviously our arch enemies was Plunkett and Donegal Celtic. You know, they were the team that we always wanted to beat, and to be fair, most times we did. They won't like hearing that, but that's the truth.
What about Davy McGrath's Doon Star? Were you never involved with them?
Davy Doon Star as well. Yeah, we played against Davy's Doon Star as well.
Yeah, because I played for Doon Star, but it's not. I mean, it was later years that I played. You probably played with our Joe. Yep. Many months ago.
As I say, we had a great little side at Red Star, you know, and obviously we were one of these little clubs we didn't have any social area like Donegal Celtic and Plunkett had, but we get by, you know, and we've done really well, and I still speak to a lot of the lads in the team, you know, so it's quite good.
Yeah, Plunkett are doing really well. I have a neighbour just 2 doors down, Marty. He's coaching a lot of good young players, and they're developing, and they're getting into the Irish League teams. The likes of Cliftonville are poaching a lot of his players. He's always annoyed about it. But Plunkett were really the big team of West Belfast, weren't they? Isn't that
well? When I signed for Distillery, I played in a little tournament for Dominic McInhill, who's involved in Plunkett. My mate's Liam, his dad, and we were just all together. Me, Mackers, Terry McClinchy, and me Toner, big squad of us, and he got us together to play in a little tournament up at Ballyskade, you know, and we turned up. Tony, like, it was just all us lads from Lennadoon, and all these other teams involved all turned up with track suits and all their little bags, and we turned up like, as I say, the old scruffians, you know. But we actually won the tournament, you know.
And is that how you get?
Yeah, because
done up
the
by
manager
Distillery?
was Roy Welsh was watching all the games there, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, because we'd done so well, and bless him, Skin Bradley was playing. I don't know if you remember Skin dead now,
Yes,
bless him.
God rest Skin,
But,
his good friend.
but we absolutely wiped the floor with all of them in that tournament, you know. And then after the final, I was walking out, and Roy Wells come up to me and says, "Luke, I want to speak to you about something." I just looked at him and went, "Are you serious? I'm not getting involved in football. I couldn't be bothered. I'm just here for a bit of crack, you know."
Yeah.
And then about a week later, I come into the house on a Saturday night. Believe it or not, I had a couple of cans, and I was 16 at the time, and obviously
as you weren't
really supposed to do that in them days.
Yeah.
And I walked in on a Saturday night. My mum and dad usually went out, Tony, on a Saturday night, but this Saturday night I got caught because they stayed in, and as I walked into the house, I went, "Oh my God, my mum and dad are still in, and I've been drinking."
Oh.
So I walked in, and my dad looked at me and went, "Where have you been?" I says, "I'll be up the mountain with a couple of lads, all the lads having a drink." He said, "Right, sit down." He says, "There's two blokes came here tonight looking at you," and I thought, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
Well, didn't come in a black taxi.
I'm thinking, "Oh, what have I done?" You know, I'm thinking I'm going to get done for underage drinking or whatever. But it was Roy Welch and Arthur Brady. Bless him, little Mousy Brady.
Yes, Mousy, what a guy, yeah.
Legend.
Yep.
Mousy's a legend. Come up to the house, and then my dad looked up and he went, "Well, I think you should sign." And I was about to say, "Well, I'm not really interested." And he looked at me and said, "You've been drinking. You've got no choice here. You're signing." So I did. I went up and played, Tony, and then within a couple of weeks, a month, I was in the first team. So it was just a meteoric rise at that level, you know.
Yeah, and when you were up at the Story, I think you were more or less penciled in to sign for Celtic. Then you had a couple of major setbacks that could have finished your career.
Yeah, there was. I was supposed to sign on the Thursday or something, and on the Saturday I broke my leg up at Crusaders. I was laying, and I remember it clear as day. I was laying in Seaview. It must have been midwinter. It was midwinter. It was October, and it was absolutely freezing, Tony. And I was laying there. I knew my leg was broke because I wasn't. In them days, you didn't have to wear shin pads, so I wasn't wearing a shin pad. But when you just know, I just knew I was laying there. Next thing, all the doctors and all come on looking at me, and next thing I'm thinking, I'll be off here soon. They couldn't find a stretcher, Tony, so I lay there for about 20 minutes. The pain in my leg wasn't bothering me. I thought hypothermia was setting in, believe it or not. It was that cold. Eventually they found a stretcher and got me to hospital, and then I came out with a plaster on, and I had that on for 14 weeks.
Oh my God.
And obviously, I'm thinking, oh well, that's it, kaput, and so, but to be fair, Davy Hay kept in touch with Roy Welch and says, once he gets fit again, we'll have another look at him. So that was brilliant. So I got myself fit again. Well, it must have been probably near enough a year all in. And I got back playing again, and then Davy Hay said, fair play, right, we'll bring Anton on a little tournament in pre-season with the under-23 Celtic team. Peter Grant and people like that were playing in the team then. Excellent. And I went off to Groningen in Holland and played the first game. I was playing against some German team, I can't remember who it was. The first sort of challenge I went in for, the bloke just caught me right in the same spot.
Oh no.
Where I'd done my leg the first time, and I had a shin pad on this time. But believe it or not, I went down and I hobbled off, and then I knew it was broke myself, Tony. Do you know these things when you've had enough of them? And I thought, well, that's the end of that. So it brought me to the hospital in Holland, and Bobby Lennox come with me. Me and Bobby were sitting there, and I went in for the X-ray, come out 5 minutes later. Oh no, it's not broken, he's fine. So they gave me a crutch over there. So I spent the rest of the tournament just sitting in the dugout with a crutch, and I just knew my leg was broke, Tony. I get back, and I remember Arthur Brady picked me up. Bless him, little mouse, he picked me up from the airport, and he brought me straight to the Royal Victoria Hospital, and I came out with another plaster on for another 12 weeks.
So they diagnosed you with not a broken leg when you did
They said it wasn't broken in Holland. So I was walking around in Holland for 5 days. They gave me a crutch.
Just doing more damage constantly.
As soon as I got off the plane, Arthur Brady picked me up and brought me straight to the Royal, and I came out with another plaster on, Tony.
That's just flabbergasting.
That was basically another year out, near enough, and I thought, well, that's the end of that. I was nearly 19 at the time, and by the time I would have get fit again, and and obviously with the thought of that happening again, obviously people, someone breaks their leg twice, it's always a hazard to sign them, obviously, because it might happen again, you know.
Yeah.
But to be fair on Davy Hay, he stuck with me the whole way, and I got back playing again. And within 2 months of playing again, he just come over and he says, "Right, we want to sign him."
That's amazing that he stood by. A lot of managers
I'll tell you, I'll be
left it
forever
dead in the
in
water.
gratitude for that, Tony. It was fantastic for me what he done, you know, absolutely fantastic. A lot of other managers would have just left it and just, well, he's only a little lad from Belfast, we'll just leave him. But fair play to him. He done it for me, he got me over there, and I won't lie, I must admit, when I signed, the first 4 or 5 months was horrendous for me because I left all my family, all my friends, Tony, and I was on that. I loved all my mates and all my family and everything. So the first 4 months I was in digs with his family, and they were lovely family, got on really well with them. But I was 20-year-old man, and I was basically a man, and I was staying in digs with an older sort of couple, you know.
I remember you were at the Joe many moons ago, and he came into the room, and I'm the youngest one in the house. I'm only 51 now, but he came in and he says, "Anton Rogan's ripped me a letter," and that's what you were describing, being stuck in a house.
Yeah, it was awful, mate. As I say, that was 87. That would have been. I turned to 86. I turned into 80s. No, it would have been still 86. Obviously.
86, yeah, because I have it written down.
So, and it came to, really hear this, Tony, but it came to Christmas, and I'm thinking, right, if I'm going home for Christmas, and there's no way I'm going to come back here. So I jumped on the plane at Christmas, and I'm thinking, right, I'm never ever going back there. Do you know, I just do not want to go back because of the way, you know, how to get the bus and the training, and no money. The money was horrendous, but anyway, that's besides the point. So I went home at Christmas, and I'm sitting in the house, and I said to my dad, I was going back on the, I think it was the 29th. I was supposed to be back. Davey said, "Just come back on the 29th, Anton. So have a few days with your family and all that." So I thought that's brilliant. But while I was there, I said to my dad, "I don't fancy it. I don't really. I've got another year and a half of this contract, and it's not doing nothing for me, you know." All right, I was playing well in the reserves and stuff, but I thought to myself, no, this isn't my life. You know, it's not for me. Yeah. So all my mates come in, all my family were all sitting there. Christmas, had a great Christmas, and every one of my mates that come up said, "Just go back for another." Even my dad said, he says, "Look, just go back to the end of the season anyway. Let's see what happens." So I left with sort of a bit of anxiety, a lot of things in my head, thinking I don't want to go back there. But eventually I went back on the 29th, Tony. I thought, right, that's it. I'll give it the end of the season.
One more big push.
Yeah, I'll just give it to the end of the season and see what happens. And believe it or not, the Celtic Rangers game, that was 2 days later, obviously the New Year's Day game.
Yeah.
And Rangers beat Celtic 2-0. And Celtic were poor, apparently, you know, as I say, because I never went to watch it. I was in the digs. So I went into training, I think it was on the Wednesday. And I walked in the training, and Bobby Lennox was standing. He says, "Anton, come here." And I says, what is it, Bobby? He says, "You're training with the first team today." And I'm thinking, oh, it's just obviously make up the numbers, do you know?
Yeah.
So off I went, trained with the first team, and then trained with the first team again on Thursday, and then thinking of training with the first team on Friday. So that's 3 days of training with them, and then as I was leaving the thing, Davey came up to me and says, "Anton, you're in the squad for tomorrow." I was like, "What?" He went, "You're in the first team squad tomorrow, so we'll get you arranged to get you picked up." So I was thinking, well, so I only go, sorry Tony, go on, have a chat. So,
right.
Tony?
Hello? Yes, still with us, Anton.
Right, sorry, as I say, and he says, right, you're in the squad tomorrow, so off I went, phoned up everybody, and a few people made their way over. But I didn't think I was playing. But as Tommy Burns picked me up at the roundabout outside my house, and I love Tommy, and Tommy's a great man as well, a really good friend of mine he was. And off I went, and I'll tell you what, I played that game, Tony, and see, as soon as I walked out after that match, my life just changed 100%, you know.
Yeah, it just changed overnight with your first.
I went from being just somebody sitting in a little house playing reserves, not seeing anybody, to all of a sudden, I'm thinking, is this the way this is? I love this. It's fantastic.
I think it was 8-3 in your first.
It was.
Yeah, it was Hamilton Aggies, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but being Hamilton 8-3.
It was some debut, wasn't it? 8-3.
Yeah, but my old manager, Tony Rooney, Amy, Paddy Arthurs, and Chef, bless him, he's dead. The four of them jumped in the car on a Saturday morning and come over to see me, do you know? And I told this story last week to a lad somewhere in Glasgow about Tony Rooney. His favourite player ever was Danny McGrain, do you know?
Oh, I hear Danny.
So, after the match, I'm standing there, and the four lads were outside, and Danny was just walking out behind me, and he says, "Anton, who's this?" I says, "Danny, this is my friends over from Belfast." He says, "Oh, bring them in." So we walked in. I don't know if you remember, the old parkhead was just a door. It was just a green door. Do you
yes,
remember?
That's right. I remember the old parkhead. Yep.
Yeah, and then basically you're in the changing room and in the tunnel. So I'm standing, brought the four boys in, and Danny says, "Bring them down the tunnel, we'll get a photograph." And Tony Rooney's face, you know, standing looking at Danny McGrain. I will never forget it as long as I live. You know, just the pure awe that Tony Rooney was in looking at him. And it's the first time ever I've seen Tony Rooney speechless.
Yeah, well, when you see somebody like Danny McGrain, Danny was over, he brought the Celtic team, remember they played Donegal Celtic a few years ago? They brought Gravis in, and it just, they didn't bring the first team. But Danny brought them over as coach. And I was sitting with Danny up at the DC, and me and him had about 5 minutes together with nobody else around us, and I was just totally in awe of him. I just was throwing all the stats at him of what he did in his career, and he was going, "Relax yourself. We're having a few wee chill out moments here." Geez, I'm totally in awe of the man. You know,
he's a fantastic man, Tony. What a lovely bloke. Absolutely loved him, you know. And what a footballer.
Yeah,
what an
world class.
He was. Without a shadow of a doubt. They throw the word world class around for a lot of players, but when Danny they had it right on the nail with Danny, you know, because he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, because we had done a best Celtic 11 a few weeks ago here, and over 1,000 people had compiled teams, and every team sheet that was put in, Danny McGrain's name was on it.
He had to be, you know.
He was just unreal.
Absolutely brilliant.
And then I think some of the kids, when you mention Danny McGrain now, they wonder what kind of player he was. There's some great footage there on YouTube. You can go and watch Danny McGrain. He was just absolutely outstanding, as you well know.
But not only was he a great footballer, Tony, he was just a lovely man as well. You know, what a real nice person. No odds or graces about him. He just got on with everybody, and all he did was play football, and Christ, he was good at it.
Oh, he was. Daniel Fergus McCann, right?
Yeah.
Or Daniel Fergus McGrain, what am I saying? Fergus McCann.
Yeah.
Rick,
Fergus McCann, that's a name from the past as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so now we've got you to your debut, and now you're winging your way into the squad. You're making yourself known. You know what I mean? I need to be on that team sheet every week.
Yeah.
So
it was that season, Tony. Do you know, as I say, when Billy came in and he had his first couple of words with us, and then obviously I was sort of moved into the first team dressing room, because I was still in the reserve dressing room up to the end of that season. But then you looked at the players who were started coming in, and the players who left that season. You know, there was some big egos in that club that year. I was there my first year. You know, you had Mo Johnston, Brian McClure, you know, Al McNally, Murdo McClure. There's some big names in that team, do you know?
Yeah, because they took out a few programmes from your time there, so I have them here beside me to see what kind of names that were knocking about back then. You're right, there's some egos.
On paper, Tony, do you know, you looked at that side on paper and the names, the big names, and why they're not performing, do you know?
Yeah.
But then, as I say, Billy came in and he didn't change that much. He just done. I think a lot of people were still probably looking at him in fear and awe of him, because what he was and what he done in the game, do you know? But he didn't change that much. He just brought in a couple of the players he signed were just fantastic for the team.
Yeah, when you look back at you, Big Mick McCarthy beside you.
Big Mick, Chris Morris,
yeah, another
brilliant. Little Joe Macca, and you know, like the most underrated, little Andy Walker as well, but the most underrated one of them all, Tony, for me, is Billy Stark. What a footballer he was, by the way.
Yeah, Billy Stark was amazing. Or even
absolutely
remember back the Centenary.
He just got on with things. He never done anything too extraordinary, but he just done everything right all the time.
Yeah, and Mark McGee was in amongst that as well. Them two were brilliant together.
Team as well, yeah. But as I say, we had a great side with we're great companions as well. We seem to get on really well together on and off the park, which does help in them times, do you know?
Yeah, and so Billy was more or less getting the squad ready, but we're heading towards Centenary year. That was pressure, because you know, across the town there, they were spending. We know now what they were doing. They were just spending money that
Yeah,
Oh, they
it
were
wasn't
fussing
there.
that current about the
Basically.
consequences. It wasn't there, yep. And
But as I say, they were signing all these big English players, and you know that they were coming up, and obviously they were, whatever money they were on, it doesn't really matter. That's completely irrelevant. But I think at the start of that season, we were well underdogs to do anything, if you understand, because of the players that they were bringing in.
yeah,
But I think, as I say, Big Billy seemed to just get everybody gelling, and then when he signed Little Joe and Macca halfway, Little Joe was November and October, and Macca and Frank was the same. I think they were just the two missing pieces to the jigsaw, do you know?
yeah. Then it all started clicking.
Absolutely frightening. Absolutely frightening.
Yep. And throughout the centenary year, what was the game for you that stood out in the centenary year?
Oh Christ, there was loads of games that year, mate. You know, there was so many games that stood out with our sort of never die attitude. You know, we were scoring goals in 93, 94 minutes to get 1-0 wins and stuff. Do you know? And whether you've seen the semi-final itself was another one. We scored 2 late goals, and do you know? And you're thinking, we just don't think we're ever going to be beat here. Do you know? Because we've always had that mentality. Do you know? Did you all
feel the pressure of that centenary year because? Every club's
do you know something, Tony? Yeah. Sorry for putting in. Do you know? Well, we never really thought about it, and that's the truth. Do you know? Yeah. I suppose it would be different. Obviously, looking back on it now, it was the pressure. Obviously, must have from the outside looking in, must have been massive. But you know, I don't think it ever come up in any of the conversations in our dressing room that we have to do this because it's the club's centenary year. I don't think that was ever mentioned once.
Right.
And that's serious. I think the gaffer just sort of went, right, there's enough pressure on these lads to do well this season. Right. I don't want to put that on top of them, right? This is the club centenary, so you just have to win it.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying, I sort of think he took a step back from it and just let us get on with it, if you understand.
That shows you how good Billy was. Did they actually keep that from you? Because
I
remember back in '88, we were going, we have to win a double or a treble, to make the centenary year. Brilliant.
Yeah. But you look at one of the games. I think it was the first cup game in the start of in that year. Was it Hamilton? We struggled a 1-0 win. Do you remember? They should have beat us, I think.
Yeah, but thinking back then,
we were brutal that day, but we got away. We snuck a 1-0 win. Do you know that? And they should have beaten us. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, that's January. We're into January now. Then all of a sudden February comes, and then March comes, and you're thinking, we're in the shirt here, because they were struggling a bit, and then they get knocked out of the cup by somebody, didn't they, early on as well?
Yep, that's right.
I can't remember who it was beaten, but they get knocked out by someone. Or was it Hamilton? I'm not sure. It might have been Hamilton actually beat them. Do you know that? And we struggled against somebody at Parkhead in the first round of the cup. But anyway, that's besides. But it was just, everything just seemed to fall into place after that, mate. You know that? It just seemed to be written in the stars, basically.
Yeah, what a season that was. That was really when I found that Celtic just run through me, and it ended up my life. But I have somebody beside me sitting beside my son, and he would have been back when I was 19 in the centenary year. That's what age he is now, Anton. I have our Declan beside me, and he's Celtic fanatic, an absolute Celtic daft. So he's beside me here, and he's got a couple of wee questions to ask you.
Yeah, Anton. Go on.
Right, Anton, how are you?
Alright, so what's your name?
Declan.
Hello, I never heard that. Hello?
Oh, Declan. Hello.
Declan, how you doing, son?
I'm good, how are you?
All good, mate, all good.
All good. Just have a few questions down here, because to me you probably played in one of the best Celtic sides of all time, if you don't mind me saying.
No, not a problem. Thank you, mate. Thank you for saying that, because it was a great side, son. It was a great side. I loved it.
Because I would say it would be the Lisbon Lions, then Seville, the Invincibles, and then the centenary season.
Yeah.
According to me, I would be, in my point of view. But a few questions. Your best player at your time at Celtic, probably apart from yourself, who was the best?
the best individual player.
The best.
Paul, it has to be Paul. Paul was just brilliant. You know, Paul McStay was just fantastic at what he done.
Yeah, he was.
He was a pleasure to play alongside, because he done things not many players in the world could have done as well. He was another one of these players that was world class, but he didn't sort of get the recognition that he deserved either. Do you know?
Yeah, he was. Paul was amazing.
Through the hard times.
Yeah. Here, just before I was looking at the Player of the Year award, and and this was in 1989. Paul McStay had 156 points, and you had 129. You weren't too far behind him, Anton.
No, wasn't
There you go.
No, that's right. Not at all.
Yeah.
But as I say, as I just mentioned earlier on, I'll just mention the Declan. Like as a midfielder, Paul was fantastic. The best centre forward, believe it or not, I ever played with was Frank.
Yeah.
McAvaney, just awesome. I played with some great centre forwards down in England all the time. I've been here as well, but Frank for me was just unbelievable.
Yeah, Paul Burns said the same about him last week. He was an awesome player, Frank McAvaney.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'm lucky enough to still speak to him now and again. You know, I keep in touch with him, so he's doing well. Frank, he's a lovely lad as well. Really nice bloke.
Oh, I hope you don't go partying with him now.
No, them days of partying with Frank
you'd be out of the house.
Them days of partying with Frank are long gone. We've done enough when we were doing that.
I'm sure.
For me,
Right, Declan's got another question here.
Go on, Declan, son.
It was just about how Billy was as a manager. How was he in the dressing room and probably individually with the players at the time?
I think football changed. You know, football has changed now, Declan, quite a bit from when I played. You know, when I went to England, I seen managers work, but the way Billy worked, he didn't really take you on one and he didn't really wasn't these people that took you aside and said you're doing this. He seemed to do things in a collective way. You know.
Yeah.
And so I think if you were involved in something, somebody else would be involved as well. It was never just you, you know, there was always other people around him as well. And I think that was a good way to manage. Whereas a lot of other managers I played with, it just always seemed to pull you aside and say, you're doing this and doing that. But Billy had a little knack of getting things done together, if you understand.
Yeah.
I think there wasn't that sort of individual stuff as if it's just all your fault or it's not your fault. It was a sort of collective thing, which I found which was great for players, do you know?
Would he ever pull out the hairdryer treatment at some points?
Sorry, Declan?
Would he ever pull out the hairdryer treatment at some points?
Oh, the hairdryer treatment came out loads of times. Absolutely. When you hear that, I'll tell your dad this little story as well. It's brilliant. Big Whitey and little Joe and Frank still talk about this. I can't remember who we were playing, but whatever happened, we were getting beat at half time, 1-0 or something by somebody at Parkhead, and we were rubbish the whole game, do you know? So we came charging in, and for some reason I sat over the far end of the dressing room where I never ever sit. You always go in and sit in your own little spot in the dressing room, do you know? But I was in the toilet, and obviously something he came in, and so I sat down here, right? So as he came flying in, Paul Elliott was just taking off his boot, and Paul just sort of kicked his boot across the floor. But as he kicked his boot, Big Billy came in and swung at it, right? And this is God's truth. You can ask anybody. Big Billy caught Paul Elliott's boot right on the laces, right? It went up into the air and started banging around the rafters in the ceiling, and this is gospel. It came down and landed on my head.
Oh.
That is
long
serious.
before Beckham there was you then?
Yeah. As I said, everybody, we never looked up, but it was banging
Jesus.
around up above for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then bang, it landed on my head.
She now fall to the floor.
Harsh by luck. It's the first time I've ever sat in that seat in my life.
You get hit in the head with it.
I got hit by Big Paul Elliott's boot.
Yeah.
That Big Billy had kicked. Absolutely. But when Derek White or Little Joe phoned me now, they still talk about that. They know, they say that was absolutely brilliant. Because it was at half time, we were getting beat. If it had been any other time, we would have been in hysterics laughing, you know. But we couldn't even laugh.
Oh my God!
Such a
And that was the day before compensation claims you had. They got a fortune. Absolutely brilliant. Right, Dax.
And then,
yep.
Probably someone that didn't grow up to see that team, or especially this person, Tommy Burns, which I grew up hearing all the stories about. How was he just as a person and a
Tommy's
player?
fantastic, man. As I said, I was just saying to your dad earlier on, Dick, when Tommy picked me up for my first game, and he sort of took me under his wing, you know, while I was there, and he looked after me, and his wife Rose me and his kids. I always got on really well with him, you know.
Yeah.
And Tommy's still badly missed, you know.
Yes.
Such a young age for someone like him to go, and it was just horrendous, you know.
He was a great friend of West Belfast as well. He was always over here. I met
Yeah,
Tommy loads of times here.
He's just a full-on real nice person,
Yeah,
you know. And I don't think there's very many people that ever have a bad word to say against Tommy Burns, no matter what team you support, you know.
Because I was seeing Callum McGregor was doing the Q&A for the Celtic Instagram today, and he said Tommy Burns was the biggest influence on his career so far. So it means he has touched our youth team as well at the minute. That's
it, Tom. I think Tommy would have touched anybody he came across, and that's just the nature of the man, you know. It's just the way he was. He's such a way with people, you know. Footballers, non-footballers, anybody. Tommy had a nice way with them, you know.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to talk about the two cup finals, 88 and 89, where you got your winners' medals, Anton.
Yep.
Wow, two finals.
Great. It was. They were the final. Obviously in '88 was just because we're 1-0 down again.
Couldn't rate that. Lovely summer's day.
Time was moving on a bit, and then as I say, next thing you know, we're 2-1 up, and you go, "Oh, this is just awesome. This is just one of them." It was definitely dreamland, you know.
Sunstroke and everything that day I had.
That day, just... as I say, I think when you look the way the weather, the way things fell for us, you know, and you just see when Frank scored that winning goal, you know, I just looked at everybody. I just turned around and looked at the supporters. I'm thinking, is this really happening? Am I just being dropped here from somewhere? Am I actually here?
And I started to look at that. I'm getting goosebumps down to my arm just thinking about that day. That was just utter euphoria. Absolute euphoria. I've never experienced anything like that. That was just absolutely amazing.
I'm the same. Do you know that's when that whistle went? You know, see as you say, euphoria. That's a great word for that. It was just bliss from then until the start of the season again. Because for that to happen in the circumstances when it did, and why it did, and obviously for the centenary year, you're thinking dreams are made of this. It's only I said to you earlier on, Tony, that it was never come up about you have to win this because of the centenary year for the club. But see, actually, when it did happen, see the backlash of it. It was just never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it at all.
And it also
obviously never will again.
Yeah, it constantly sells as well, that centenary year, because with the centenary shirts and all being re-released, I'm actually wearing my centenary shirt this evening in honour of you as well.
I've got just little Joe deals in this. He's got a few shirts, and he the last time I believe I was up for it was a big Billy funeral I was up for.
Yes.
And little Joe can be one of the gold one, the yellow one, which is I forgot how nice that strip is. Do you know? The away one that year, do you know? It's what a lovely strip it was.
That's the C.R. Smith yellow diamond.
That's the one.
Yep, I have it here in the garage. You have to come and visit this garage when you're back home.
Oh well,
you have to come around and see this. And you got to see my centenary shirt. Yeah, because I've got it up there. Billy's name's on it, and I've got Tommy's names on it, and Frank. I need to get your name on it.
Yeah, not a problem, Tony. Not a problem at all.
Dank is going to read question. We'll not keep you too much longer, Anton, because I know you're a very busy man.
When we were talking to Paul Byrne last week, we were talking about his 2 goals against Rangers, albeit that came in a draw and a defeat, but yours came in a win. So how did it feel from someone from West Belfast who scored 7 weeks
ago? We beat in that the St Patrick's Day game, and then the week after in the Cup I think it was 2-0 and 3-0 we beat them, you know. I think both games we could have been 5 or 6 easily. We could have beat them.
Yeah.
They were I was fortunate to play in a lot of them games and set up a lot of goals in them, and it's just you do, looking back on it now, Tony and Declan, you know, you look at these games and you think, obviously when you're out there you don't really notice it how much what's going on around you, but I think that one of them games was it the 3-0 game. I think it was the one I scored. We beat them 3-0. The ball went out of play, and you don't usually take much time to stand and look around these sort of games. But there was an injury, and someone was down for 3 or 4 minutes in the middle of the pitch. We're 3-0 up, and I'm just standing looking at the jungle. And the next thing, I'm just looking the whole way around, and the floor was actually parquet. The grass was moving underneath me. There was that much jumping and singing and dancing going on. It was unbelievable. That actually is the one thing that does give me goose pimples in my whole career, was watching that. The supporters doing that the whole way around that day. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
I watched your goal today again. You know what I mean? It's for a West Belfast boy to do that. It's it's everyone's dream. It's everyone's dream along that end of the road.
I was lucky enough to do it.
And you did
brilliant.
it.
Absolutely brilliant.
And you should also claim that one that you aimed for. Was it Andy
yeah.
Walker's badge? I think you said you aimed for.
I hit Andy in the chest and flew in.
Yeah, I claimed that one as well.
Someone sent me a video out a couple of months ago and went, Rogan, if you slow that down, you just appear from nowhere and you look like you're about 12 foot in the air. And to be fair, I've never looked at it. But I looked at it then, Tony, and I went, Christ almighty, that was a big jump, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Oh, class.
But I've never, Tony, I swear I've never seen my goal. I've never watched any game I've played in.
Do you know what? I'll send you the links on WhatsApp so you can get a look at them as well, because I've also got their photos from Marty McKiernan.
Tony, I'm not bothered, and that's the truth. My boys and all say, have a look at this, have a look at my mates, all the lads at work, and come on, Rogue, have a look at these. I said, no, I'm not interested. I will someday look at stuff.
Someday when you get your pipe and slippers, yep, you'll look over them.
Well, as I say, I played at Wembley on the FA Cup final, and some people say, have you ever watched it? I says, no, I haven't, because I don't want to.
Yep.
So, but that's just the way some people are. Some people love it, and for me, I was fortunate enough to be in the position to do that sort of thing. And as I say, I was lucky enough to play. I played in 5 finals in a row. I played 4 in Scotland, and then my first year in England, I played in the FA Cup final. Yep. So for me, that's enough. It was just a privilege to be able to do it.
Yeah, and then you've lived it. You know what I mean? You don't need to look over it again. You know you've lived it, and you have it all in your head.
Exactly what I say, Tony. I've got my medals, I've got my jerseys. Obviously, they're all up in the loft. People come into my house and they'll look around. And
love to see those. I'd love to see those.
When I'm over, I'll bring the Centenary medals over for you. Definitely.
I'd love to see them.
I'll bring the Centenary medals over.
Brilliant. Declan's one more wee question, and we'll let you go.
Yep, go on, Declan, son.
Kind of from not really a negative point of view, but what was the feeling in the Celtic dressing room when you heard that Mo Johnston is saying for Rangers? Just a personal one.
There's a sword one.
Yeah, I got on well with Mo, to be honest. Mo was lovely to me. My first year playing there, and he was always come up and said, "How you doing?" And he was a nice lad, and but for me, it's one of these things. I think he done it, and I don't know why he done it, but obviously, I don't know why. I don't know whether he regrets it now or he still thinks he made the right move. But for me, I think it was 100% the wrong move. Because no matter what team you play for, you don't go to their arch enemies, no matter what league you're in.
100%, exactly.
And you try and stay away from your arch enemies. If you're in the 4th division down here, the conference down here, you don't go to your arch enemies. And maybe it was a misjudgment of an error, but for me, he didn't do the right thing. And as I say, I've seen Mo, I still chat to Mo, whatever. But as I say, it's just one of these things that he done, and whether he regrets it or whether he doesn't think about it, it's his decision, Declan. Son.
Yeah. It took us years to recover from that, didn't it, Anton?
I think a lot of people were. There's still a lot of people bitter and twisted over it, aren't there, as well? There's still a lot of
yes.
I wasn't born and I'm bitter about it.
it's just one of them things. It's always going to come up, and that's the nature of these sort of games, and the nature of them two clubs. And if you mention Mo Johnston, they'll not mention how good a footballer he was. They'll just say, "Yeah, he went from Celtic to Rangers, didn't he?"
Yeah, that's true.
That's what he's remembered for now, boys. And nothing else.
Very true. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave you with this wee stat here. There was only 3 people from West Belfast that played for Celtic. Would you know the other 2? Of course, one's you.
Yeah, Charlie Tully.
Charlie Tully, 319 appearances with 47 goals.
Yeah, give me the initials of the other one.
MH. But you'll have to go a way back.
Oh, well, I'll struggle. No, I'll struggle then. No.
Yeah, well, he's buried up in Hamilstown Cemetery. He's Mickey Hamill. I don't know where you were familiar with Mickey Hamill. He was a Belfast Celtic player, and he owned a bar in the Falls Road.
Serious?
Yeah. He had 7.
How many games did he play?
Well, he only had 7 appearances, but he won the league. That's when... let's see, 1915, 1916, so it was during the war years, and they cut the league down, and he went on loan from Belfast Celtic over to Glasgow Celtic, and he went over and won them a league. He was a classist player. Also had played for Manchester United as well. 157 games or something he played for Manchester United.
I'll have a look at him. You know,
yeah.
At him.
So
but as you say, my stats on football, you know, I still got a lot of friends up and down the country who still speak to it. All the different clubs I played for, you know, and they mention players and then they go to me, well, Rogue, you can't remember what day it was. Never mind who you played. So I'm not really. My football stats aren't very good. You know, people ask me how many games I played and when and where. I haven't got a clue, and that's gospel.
Well, there was only 3 people from West Belfast that wore the hoops, and you were one of them. 161 appearances, Anton, 5 goals, 5 big goals you scored between 1986 and 1981. You won the league in 87, 88 in our centenary year, and you won the Scottish Cup in 1988 and also 1989.
Yeah, and I just speaking to I speak to little Joe every week, you know, and his goal still gets mentioned. He still throws it in. I said, Joe, I'm fed up listening about your goal, mate.
that was brilliant. Just latched onto a back pass and put it in the Rangers' net.
Yeah, just before we go as well, yes. that after that game, it was me and Joe get picked in. This is when they started doing the drugs test, you know, around that time, and after the match, they pulled me and Joe out. So me and George went in, obviously, into the whatever was in the set, right? Can you go to the toilet? You know, obviously, we just finished there in the dressing room, had a toilet or whatever. Cut a long story short, none of the 2 of us could go to the toilet. So somebody says, well, get us a couple of cans. So the next thing, we come in, we're about 8 cans of beer, right? So me and George sitting on the 2 fridge use tables, and obviously there's people watching this and we're not doing anything. Obviously, the drugs control people. See, after about 40 minutes, I still couldn't go, and Joe was struggling as well. I must have drank about 7 cans, right? But eventually, I went for it. I'm ready to go now. So off I went, bump, all clear. Joe, bump, all clear. But this must have been, this must have been 6:15 by then, maybe 6:30 by then. And usually when we come out of Hampden, we'd go the other way. We wouldn't go up the Rangers end, we'd go out the other end.
Yeah.
But they brought us out the Rangers end, but obviously they must have thought they'd all been away. So when they stopped us right at the junction coming out and all the rain, they started throwing all their cans at our car because they seen me and Joe in the cars. I was thinking, what a manoeuvre that was by them people. Why did that bring us out the other way?
Sometimes they can end up very dodgy. You only see what happens to Lenny these days, for God's sake.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It is frightening. And just one more stat before we go as well. You're talking, I don't know if you know this one, about the 1992 Cup final. We played Liverpool. I was playing
Sunderland. Yep, I remember it well.
We were playing them, and all of a sudden, now off we go. They beat us 2-0, obviously.
Yeah.
We played really well the first half. If we had scored, we'd have beat them, but they come out battered us the second half. So off we go. We're walking up the steps to get our medals, and I'm walking down again, them looking at my medals. What's this winner? I'm sure we get beat. I'm sure we get beat. They give us the winners' medals, didn't they?
Oh, brilliant! They wouldn't have handed them back. I'd have kept them.
What do you? It just shows you how Mickey Mouse the FA can be sometimes. So we walk down, we're all standing, and obviously eventually some brainiac decided, we've made a mistake, he's got the winners' medal. They know what they made us do? They just made us stand in the pitch and change with Liverpool players.
Oh, you're joking me.
Seriously, I changed back little Ray Houghton, big Celtic fan, you know.
Yes, that's right, the Houghton. I know all the brothers as well.
I changed back my little Ray, and I'm thinking, that just shows you how Mickey Mouse these big FAs and stuff can be, you know.
Mm-hmm. And that's supposed to be like the premium final. My God, and that was in the 90s.
They give us the wrong medals. It was great.
Fantastic, yeah. That's a good story, that one. Anton, I could speak to you all evening, but I know you're a busy man as well. You have a lot of things in the background to do.
Tony, if you ever need it again, I'll do it again for you at some point.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And we barely scratched the surface with you. You know what I mean? I go into loads of things and loads of players that you played under, but we'll do it another day. Hopefully, when you're back in West Belfast, next time you're over, we'll organise a night and we'll do a brilliant question and answering session, because we're going to do it with Paul Byrne as well.
I was supposed to be coming over for the renewal of the old Belfast Celtic thing for next on the 23rd of May. They're having a little do in Balmoral, weren't it? Dixie Green was organising it, but obviously I was going to come over for Dixie because Dixie's a good friend of mine. He lived the same street as me, you know, and I was going to come over and do it for him, but obviously it's kaput now where all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I know.
But maybe towards the end of the year, if everything goes well, God's burden is we'll get sorted out and be able to come over and do it.
Brilliant. Antoine, listen, you and the family stay safe. It's been an absolute honour to have you, Anton.
No,
You're an absolute legend.
It's a privilege. Declan, all the best, son.
All the best. Thank you, Anton.
The people of
All right,
West Belfast absolutely love you. Thank you so much, Anton. God bless.
All right, Tony, if you need anything, give us a shout, son.
Thank you, Anton. All the best,
Right,
mate. Bye
God
now.
bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Unreal, isn't it, folks? Such a legend, so down to earth, and just hasn't forgotten his roots here in Lenadoon, West Belfast area. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed that. The brilliant Anton Rogan.